All right, guys, and welcome in. Wagers on Campus. We're finally here. It's week 0, and we're going to be talking the games this upcoming Saturday, week 0. We have real college football. What's up? Thank you for tuning in. We're going to go through the games, and we're going to go through the angles, and we're so excited that football is here. I'm Mayor, and I'm here with Burns. Hello, Burns.
Hello. Hello.
You going to be cracking a Guinness for the first game in Ireland?
God, usually I'm on top with the wit. I can't believe I didn't even think about that.
I believe Harp is a Irish beer as well, but that's on the lighter side.
Yes, it is.
So I was thinking I'm gonna definitely crack a Guinness after my cycle bar class at 9 a.m. after a nice sweat.
Nope. I just have the Vince Gill going today because one of his biggest hits, "Trying to Get Over You," will be the theme of today's episode. Because week 0, boy, do I love the overs on the slate.
All right, interesting. Vince Gill is the man. Have you seen him in concert?
Oh yeah, so I'm at the Ryman 2 weeks after I moved here. The Opry at the Ryman, Grand Old Opry, one of those shows
Yeah.
they run in November and December. Man, hell of a singer. Not really my cup of tea on the day-to-day playlist, but yeah, I love some Vince Gill.
He sounds just like he does in studio when you see him in person, which I
Oh yeah,
always appreciate.
yeah,
So
100%.
if you guys are tuning in and checking us out, we really appreciate it. This is our 3rd year, Wagers on Campus. We're a college football podcast. We break down all of the games that we want to talk about, all the big games, and then, of course, our bets week by week. Before this episode, we've actually broke down all of the conferences. We had a futures episode where we had our futures bets, and for 2 years in a row, this has been a profitable college football podcast. We've both made money, and our goal is for you to hopefully pick up some good insights when you hear us talk, and hopefully just makes watching college football a little bit more fun. But we appreciate you checking us out and tuning in. So Burns, where do you want to start?
Yeah, I think first I'd like to start with some breaking news. Whatever our breaking news input it is. But let's give a big congratulations to Wagers on Campus for claiming a Time Top 100 podcast. Let's give a round of applause to us. We are claiming that title. If you saw this week, Auburn has claimed 7 national titles, so I thought it was appropriate that we would claim 1 podcast title. What are your thoughts on Auburn retroactively claiming 7 national titles? It's one of the biggest news stories of the week.
Well, how many do they actually have?
I believe they have 3, so they're claiming now 10.
I guess I would need some backstory here, Burns, because that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, see, before the BCS, pretty much it was just the AP final, and that's why you'd see so many colleges splitting titles. Like if you go to Wikipedia, you'll see like some years have like 4 different claimed national titles, such as 1970, where there was 3 national titles, 1970, including Ohio State, Texas, and Nebraska. So, I mean, it is pretty wild, in my opinion. This might be a little sacrilegious in college football that we were alive for the first meaningful national title. I don't think actual national titles started till the BCS era. I just can't believe, I have to dust off my history books that they had bowl games back in the day, but they were just married to these like conference, like Rose Bowl was always Big 10, Pac-12. Like no matter what, like in that, if you happen to be the number one Big 10 or Big 10, I'm sorry, number one team in the country and you're Big 10, like you try and go undefeated in that game. Like, how did they not just have the top 2 AP teams playing? How could they not make that happen earlier than the BCS era?
I mean, dude, don't get me going. I know it's the absolute craziest thing that we went so long without a natty, and then we finally got a championship game, yet we still couldn't figure out playoffs until 2014 when we then rolled out a 4-team playoff. It honestly irritates me. If you can't tell, I can't believe it. It's so nuts, the whole thing.
Yeah, it really is. And I just thought that was funny. Obviously a lot of SEC detractors already, and then you're going to have a team like Auburn come in, claim all these national titles. I mean, to their I guess benefit or side, they are dealing with an Alabama rival that has a national title claimed with 2 shutout losses to Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, and they finished like AP 20th. So I don't even know how claiming a national title works. In this realm, I'm still fully on board with giving UCF a national title. Like, if that's how we're gonna do things, like it's no holds bar. Hey, Toledo from 1969 to 1971, 35-0. They finished AP number 12 in 1970 in the middle of their 35-0 run. There's no way you can tell me Toledo can't claim a national title. So props to Toledo, first college football MAC representative national champion. Thank you, Toledo.
Congrats, Toledo. Congrats.
Thank you. Good job, Toledo. Repping the alma mater right over the shoulder there.
Yep. Deontay Johnson's proud.
Chester Taylor, Bruce Gradkowski, shout
out. Interesting. What else?
What else do we got? We got a lot of stuff here. We're starting to get QB battles. QB battles are winding down, obviously. For most teams, we still have a full week before the season gets underway. But a couple big ones. Julian Sayin officially named Ohio State's starting quarterback week 1. I think that was pretty well known, but Kleinholtz is probably one of the better backups, if not the best backup in the entire country. So it seemed like that battle was going down to the wire. Any pushback there?
I don't think so. I mean, you've been saying that Sayin is the guy.
Saiyan, Super Saiyan.
So I'm not super surprised to hear that. Yeah, I expected him to be the starter.
Yep. And then last week we said Minchie was getting ahead in Notre Dame. CJ Carr officially named Notre Dame's week 1 starter. I think that was originally everyone's thought. Got a little weird there last week, but maybe that was just internal leak to try and get Carr to kind of kick it into gear towards the end of camp. But he'll be the week 1 starter. And then big news, our first egg on our face graphic, one of Xander's top 6 quarterback wide receiver duos to watch. Devin Brown lost the job to a true freshman quarterback at Cal. So wrote down his name. I'm going to do him a favor and not try and pronounce it.
It's a tough one.
Sagapula Telly.
But pretty damn close.
Yeah, so from an Elite 11 5-star quarterback to riding the bench to a true freshman in your final year of college, Devin Brown experiment, unfortunately, it's probably going to go down as a failure. All around seems like a good guy, but that's not good for any sort of viewing of the Cal Bears. So I will no longer be interested in watching that quarterback wide receiver connection. But let's just segue, because this ties into BYU also naming their true freshman their starting quarterback. Goes along with Devin Brown. BYU's starting quarterback is going to be wearing 47.
That's right.
We got to ban that. We got to start, bring back regular numbers for players. This is getting a little too goofy. Devin Brown wore 33, never looked like a quarterback in the backfield at Ohio State just because of the number. I mean, it's all optics mean a lot in this sport.
Yeah, you have me 100% approval, especially when we start seeing quarterbacks wear 47 or 33. I'm not thrilled about Matthew Golden of the Green Bay Packers wearing number 22 at wide receiver. Granted, do I think that's going to prevent him from having 7, 8, 9, 10 1,000-yard seasons in a row? No, I don't. But is it going to take some time to get used to watching? Yeah, it will.
His name's Michael Golden, not Michael Evans. Let's take it easy on the 10,000-yard receiving.
I hope the BYU quarterback struggles, and it's all because of his number choice. I think these kids need to be humbled a little bit.
I think you're right, and someone's got to tell them. Someone's got to let them know. I'm going to clip this, and it's going to somehow make its ways around. Just because you have a sick name, Bear Bachmeier, doesn't mean you can get all willy-nilly with your number selection. Bear Bachmeier just ruining it for 47. Get it together, kid.
He's trying to be a trendsetter, but I don't respect it.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear anything either like Devin Brown honoring his grandfather. It's like you're honoring him with your last name, buddy. I mean, 33 is not necessary. Let's get it. Yeah, like Devin Gardner years back in Michigan wearing 98 because of what was it like? I don't even know. Some 1900s Michigan quarterback. Was it Harmon or something? Some Michigan scum will be in the DMs correcting me on that one.
There are just some things that are good for the game and don't need to be touched.
My opinion, there's no greater number than number 9 on your QB. It's just a clean, great number.
JJ McCarthy.
Stop. Oh, stop it. He does not deserve the number 9. Best player on the pitch in soccer wears number 9. It's just a good, clean number. All right. Anyway, final QB reports. Sullivan at Tulane. Looks like he's dealing with a little bit of a lingering injury that'll have him out probably 1 to 2 weeks. So it's pretty much Jake Retzlaff's job to lose going forward, which is positive news for us Tulane backers such as myself, who you'll see shortly. But yeah, this is great. Knew he'd be coming off, a little bit of a sluggish situation, having to transfer and walk on, but seems like he's been dominating at camp from everything I'm reading. And they have to hit the ground running with games against Duke and Northwestern. So that's good news out of Tulane's camp.
Yeah. Retzlaff should be exciting to watch. No doubt.
I agree. Unfortunately, bad news for your Texas Tech Red Raiders. One of our preseason all-conference representatives, Quentin Joyner, fortunately suffered a torn ACL and is out for the season. That's Texas Tech's starting running back, transferred from USC. Kid was electric. He was going to be an integral part of this offense. You really hate to see that. And on top of that, I saw an interesting comment about it is this doesn't take away from any of their spend. So all that big money that they spent that you see, like that money's still spent in him. There's no going out and signing someone now. It's next man up that was not paid that much money. So that's a tough start for Texas Tech's run to the playoff.
No doubt. Joyner's an electric player. That sucks. You hate to hear it.
Yeah, you really do. Any injuries in camp, it's just like we're so close. It's kind of like just, Michigan's 5-star offensive lineman went down with a season-ending injury as well. It just feels like let's shut down camp for the rest of the week. Let's get to next week's prep for a game prep. And let's just get all these boys healthy to week 1 because that's the last thing we want to see is injuries starting to pop up on the feed every which way.
Yeah, seriously.
All right. Anything else that came up that everyone's talking about that you think we should discuss?
Yeah, maybe. Did you see on X, it was being highlighted that ESPN came out with some college football rankings back in June, and nothing had changed over the last 2 months in terms of stuff in the news. But then when they released the rankings here just like a week or two ago, they were slightly different, even though there was no transactions, no transfers, no this, no that. Did you see all that on X?
Yeah, I did. And for anyone that tunes into us, follows us, let this be a warning. If you were betting based off of ESPN's FPI and you're looking at their power index, you are set for some donations to the sportsbook. ESPN is a untrustworthy source for any sort of true rankings when it comes to evaluating teams on a betting perspective. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but yeah, I mean, I think it moved Clemson from like 8 to 13, something insane. I could see progressing through camp, teams like that moving up, but dropping a team like Clemson 5 spots is something fishy in the waters with a network that is specifically working with one conference that seems to be belly aching the most, the SEC. And it was also, I don't know if you saw this, it might correlate, but as soon as ESPN got the rights to NFL Red Zone, there was talks of a college football Red Zone. It already came out that the Big Ten and ACC were not interested in, or like Big Ten and Big 12. Two of the other Power Four conferences were not interested in licensing out at the moment. So something like that would have to take a back seat. Maybe that's a little bit of retaliation, but luckily for us, ESPN FPI currently isn't a factor in the ranking system or anything like that that'll affect our day-to-day, our predictions. I just hope it doesn't come into play for, God forbid, any of the college football panelists ranking their teams, looking at those type of metrics for like some sort of, I guess, tipping point of separation between two teams that are vying for the final position.
Right.
God, that would be horrible.
Yeah. We talked about it last week, the favoritism for some of the conferences. Just let your eyeballs do the judging. Trust your eyeballs. Trust that the best teams out there will make the playoff.
Yep, 100%. And that's why we are the best source for that type of material. The eyeball test is what helps us get over the numbers on the field. College football, these are two guys that just know what that tipping point will be when it comes to separation on the field, and we'll create the walk index sooner rather than later.
Whoa. Okay.
All our walk-maniacs out there.
Hey, is your boy Judkins going to play for the Browns this year?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
They got a real longest yard situation going on up there.
Yeah, that they do. Okay, no, I can't really think of anything else to cover.
Yeah, well, backs against the wall here. Hot takes got to come out. I like to, this is one of the places you'll always find accountability. You can see a link to all of our graphic tweets. Well, I guess tweet graphics. There's nothing graphic about them.
Some of your replies can be.
Okay, we're working on that. All of our tweet graphics, so you can hold us accountable, release everything obviously before the games. But, hot take graphic coming out before the season, just recapping the 3 hot takes that I have. First one, Kalen DeBoer out as Alabama's head coach at the conclusion of the season. Alabama misses the 12-team playoff back-to-back seasons. I'm sticking to that, and I don't really care how good their trenches are. This team has some holes.
Yeah, you've said that like 5 times now, so I think you genuinely believe it. I'm curious how DeBoer's relationship is with Alabama's higher ups, and just how much grace he really has. should be interesting to watch. Yeah.
Yep. Second hot take for me. Arch Manning will be in Texas Longhorn uniform his senior year. Arch Manning, I don't believe Texas will win the national championship. I think he's in a advantageous position to wait on developing his game for the next level. I think if the exact right team isn't sitting there at number 1 overall, such as Cleveland, I think he will forego the NFL draft and stay around for his senior year.
I like it. I heard his grandpa predict that he will stay at Texas for his senior year. But then I read a mock draft today that had him going to the Cleveland Browns at number 1 overall. But there's two things with that. One, like you said, don't know if he'd want to go to Cleveland. Two, Cleveland ain't picking first overall this year. It'll be the Saints. That should be obvious, but that's neither here or there.
Saints or Uncle Eli. Will the Giants be picking number 1 overall?
Absolutely not.
Wow. Okay. Save that for our NFL special podcast. All right. And the third and final hot take.
Abdul Carter, ever heard of him?
Yeah. Is he taking snaps on offense? John Gruden will be a Power 4 head coach at the conclusion of this season.
Wow. Yeah, good hot takes, man. Gruden, he's back, getting eyeballs on him. Loves football, breathes football, dies football, just loves the game. I could see it. Yeah, I mean, wasn't he kind of close to getting the Tennessee job at one point?
Yeah, I think that was if we go in the Wayback Machine. But this is a guy, yeah, he not only breathes football, I don't think he understands anything else that's happening on this earth. As long as he's hired to do something football related, he will be doing football related activities. This is, again, we've talked a lot of NFL so far, getting a little sidetracked, but judge ruled in his favor that he can pursue validation or vindication against the NFL for wrongfully terminating him and releasing his emails. So it looks like he's trending back towards, I mean, he's already a favorite in the NFL community. Obviously, we all know it's the PR crap stuff that, I mean, let's be honest. Who do you call an anti-football pussy? I mean, that's an all-time hilarious line. How does someone get offended by that from a literal, like, football guy? He is the definition of football guy.
Yeah, it's a good take, Burns. I'd love to see Gruden back coaching a Power 4 team. That would be freaking awesome. So I hope you're right.
Yep, that's all the hot takes I got. Hold me accountable to it. Next up, this could fall under a hot take. The boys are reviewing their final college football playoff prediction. We have our brackets available, ready to go. We'll get to week 0 before you know it, but we got to tidy up a few things around the house. College football playoff predictions are here. We'll start with mine because that's just the first graphic on the slide. Drum roll. Boom.
Boo!
And we have a new big dog on campus. You got the Ohio State Buckeyes repeating as national champions. This time starting off with a bye, but defeating LSU. And if you notice here, I kind of didn't realize it until I was making the graphic, but I've got the final 4 teams are the 4 teams that play week 1 in the big week 1 games. We got a rematch, LSU and Clemson, and then Ohio State and Texas rematch in the semifinals back-to-back years. But the other 8 teams that fill out the bracket, I got Notre Dame making it as at large, obviously. Baylor and Kansas State from the Big 12 both representing. I've got USC as one of my Big 10 representatives, along with Penn State and Indiana. And then I've got Oklahoma, LSU, and Texas as my SEC representatives, and my at-large, that's what I was hinting at, is the Tulane Green Wave, baby. the Bayou Jew, the Eye of the Jew, is going to carry that team through the AAC, and I think he's going to birth them into the second group of 5 team to get a playoff appearance.
I like your bracket. You have a really nice bracket, man. Indiana making the playoff back-to-back seasons would be a hell of a story when you look back 20, 30 years from now and you look at the history books and you say, Indiana did that? That would be crazy. K-State, definitely could see it. Oklahoma, I love Oklahoma, absolutely. Baylor getting in there. I mean, someone's got to win the conference. Why not with Sawyer Robertson at quarterback? And USC, I'm high on them as well. Ohio State, though, winning the entire thing. I certainly think it's possible if it pans out with the quarterback. I think that's probably the number one question mark that we all have. But, hey, it's not like new quarterbacks haven't been successful before. But it's a big question mark.
Yeah, of course. Not saying this is a shoe-in, like I felt as confident as I did last year. But here's how I got there. Basically, when I'm evaluating this Ohio State team, their 2 toughest games are at home. They get Penn State and they get Texas at home this year. They have the 2 best players in the entire country on the same team, both representative on 2 different sides of the ball. And then you put in Carnell Tate, Sonny Styles. I think those are 2 top 20 players in the entire country as well. And then add that with a quarterback that has a ceiling that could be potentially a number 1 overall pick in the future. I think the way that everything falls this year is a little bit more advantageous for them as opposed to last year, avoiding that mid kind of weird Oregon on the road. Obviously, the final game of the season's on the road, but I'm pretty confident this team is a team that will already be clicking by that time, and that's why I think a lot of these players also were there with the confetti dropping on them. So I think that's a huge experience factor as well. Because they weren't the guys really starting and playing in that game, that hunger of getting that, being on the field celebrating, but being able to contribute more this year, and a much, much better offensive line compared to last year. And then obviously we're both high on LSU. I think them representing on the other side of the national championship. Listen, it's put up or shut up for Brian Kelly. This is his best team that he's had. And I just think with that offense, man, I think it could carry him through some poor defensive performances. And I think the defense will find a little bit of a groove towards the end of the season. And there's really no excuse that this LSU team cannot compete for a national title.
I agree. I mean, we're excited to see Harold Perkins on the defensive side of the ball. And when you have 3 brothers playing defense, how can you not be excited about that?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it, the Weeks brothers?
Yep.
Damn. Nice.
Yeah. Yep. So why don't we just go to yours? Because speaking of that, you've also got LSU in the title.
You want to
talk us through? Yeah, you want to talk us through?
Sure. Did you have Clemson in your bracket?
Yes. Yeah. Final 4.
Oh, that's right. Playing LSU. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as you guys can see, I have Texas winning the whole thing. I think Texas has built a really good culture under Sark. I think Arch Manning will meet the expectations that have been placed upon him. But overall, I think Texas will be carried by their defense. I think it's going to be a stingy unit. I think they're going to be a very together type of team throughout the year. Don't get me wrong. They play in a tough conference, and it's going to be a challenge. But I like what they've built. And after losing in the college football playoff in back-to-back years, I'm going to say that they get over the hump with Manning with the last name on the jersey at quarterback. And a really good defense and just a good coach and a good culture that they've built. So you can see I have some surprises making the college football playoff, like Nebraska getting in, Georgia Tech getting in, Oklahoma. You could say Miami could be a little bit of a surprise depending on who you're asking, and Texas Tech out of the Big 12.
Not only getting in, but a bye for your Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Nuts. I don't know how I feel after the news of Joyner, but hey, we adapt.
Also, the ACC getting 3 representatives on your graphic, ballsy.
Yeah, it's a little nuts, right? But I think Miami has a favorable schedule. I think they'll be good. I think Carson Beck will play very well this year. Georgia Tech, we've talked about them. Love their quarterback, love their head coach. I also think they have a favorable schedule. They have a huge game against Clemson early in the season. But yeah, man, I mean, I just didn't want to go like all chalk. I wanted to make it fun while still having something in the realm of possibility. When you put these together at the beginning of the year, kind of feel like it's putting together like a March Madness bracket. Like, it's not going to be, you're not going to go perfect on it. But yeah, just wanted to make a realistic possibility with some surprises in there as well.
Tell you what, both graphics, myself being a known Alabama detractor, but you also getting 4 SEC teams in and not one of them being Alabama, going to catch some heat for that for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And I had to humble you and put you in your place with Ohio State missing the playoff.
I do see that as well.
What do you think about that? You think that's a good pick?
Well, as a guy that put Nebraska, Miami on there, and Texas Tech, it's nothing I'm really concerned about.
Okay, I mean, I can't argue with that.
And Oregon to the semifinals. I mean, we've talked about that team last week in our preview. Ooh, that would be quite the Cinderella run, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, kind of comes down to the quarterback play, in my opinion, just like your Buckeyes. I think they got a pretty good team around them.
Sure. Evan Stewart going out, another injury preseason that does hurt quite a bit.
It does.
But, apparently Alex sees a path. He sees a path.
I believe in the coach.
Fair. All right. That's our preseason predictions for who's going to win. At the end of the day, we both took the top 2 favorites to win the national title. So no matter how weird the graphic might look, it ended in chalk.
Yep.
So without further ado, gosh, should we talk about week 0, Alex?
Yeah, let's talk about week 0. Let's get into it.
Wow. We've got for some real sickos out there, this is kind of a pretty great week 0 if I can't remember. The only thing I'm going to say before we dive into it, this is bullshit. The Hawaii game starts at 6:30 Central Time.
What time were you hoping for?
11 p.m.
No, that's ridiculous. That's crazy.
Any Hawaii home game needs to be 10:30, 11. So, we don't want to say the C word, chase, on a gambling podcast, but that everyone knows that's the chase game. That's the chase time slot, and they took that away from us.
Yeah, week 0 they did. Now, as an East Coast guy, 7:30 start. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, it does start with a pint of Guinness. Week 0, Farmageddon. Man, I'm digging into this game. I'm looking more and more excited to it. What do you got from your breakdown?
So, I like both coaches, Burns. I understand that the underdog has covered recently more than the favorite in this matchup. And Iowa State beat K-State last year, late in the season. It was a home game for Iowa State in bad weather conditions, very cold game.
Final game of the regular season.
Right. So I do think Kansas State will come into this game with some revenge on their mind. I think both programs have good coaches. I think both programs have built good programs. I think something that we've come to expect from Iowa State is typically a sound defense, and these last few years, offensively, they've gotten it going a bit as well. In K-State, I would say similar. They haven't been perfect, but traditionally, strong defense, decent offense. Burns, I think K-State has more going for them in this game. I think they have more continuity, and I'm concerned about Iowa State's ability to pass the ball with a lot of success, especially after losing some really important and very good wide receivers to the NFL. Ultimately, I think K-State's defense kind of gets after it. And I think offensively, their quarterback, Avery Johnson, has a lot to prove. He's heard a lot of doubters. This is a Kansas kid. He wants to represent the state well. And I think losing to Iowa State left a bitter taste in their mouths. So I like K-State. I like K-State to win, and I like them to cover.
Yeah, interesting. Obviously referring to Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, 2,000-yard receivers, two 1,000-yard receivers gone. But they bring in Sowell from ECU, made our preseason all-conference team. Yeah, listen, when you're evaluating this Iowa State team, the only thing I'm going to say is buyer beware on the numbers. So we talked about them returning. Their returning production is only 10 out of the 16 teams. They were 10th in the conference. But please beware. This team had some ugly running numbers against, defensively against the run last year. That's because 3 of their top linebackers were out for a majority of the season. Their top linebacker, Bacon, hurt in the first game of the season. And then after that, they suffered some other injuries that lasted at minimum 6 games per season. Most of those guys are back now, healthy. Matt Campbell's been on record saying this is the best linebacking core he's had in 10 years. So for any worries about the kind of ugly numbers they were putting up against the run, I'd say temper that back just a little bit here, because obviously we see K-State. They're looking to run the ball with a mobile quarterback and a elite talent in Dylan Edwards at the running back position. But yeah, I mean, we're looking to be critical of K-State. Avery Johnson is not the passer Will Howard was. I think they knew that, but they could see the potential. But listen, potential doesn't mean anything unless you turn it into production. So I'm going to be curious to see what, Iowa State's defensive line arguably could be the best defensive line in the conference. So if there's pressure early and often, is it going to be broken plays, scrambles that are going to keep these drives alive, or he can occasionally be known to turn the ball over in these pressure situations. So I do worry about Avery Johnson, but full off season, so always tough to fully evaluate what was completed in the progression attributes when we look at a week 0 game. Iowa State, really, when they come in, they need, like you said, some offensive production, but Rocco Becht is a huge bonus. It's not like they're needing to work in a new quarterback. We see this all the time in college football. Guys out of nowhere at the athletic positions can just become stars with a good quarterback. So I would say err on the side of caution with any detriments to Iowa State's offensive production. And when it comes to an angle, listen, a little thing I was digging at last night, Chris Kleiman, he took over Kansas State 2019. Wildcats have scored 7 or more in the first quarter in every opener since then. My bet on this game is going to be Kansas State over 6.5 points, -120 first quarter. So that's my angle on this game. I do think Kansas State pulls it out, but I got to be honest. I would peg this game as a pick'em versus laying any points. So I could definitely see Iowa State coming away with the win, and that's why I like this first quarter bet of just Kansas State getting a touchdown there early.
Sure. Wow. Your first bet of the season is a team total first quarter over.
Oh boy. Let me tell you, I have something a little more on top of that, Alex, just to really, really get your juices flowing in a week 0 Saturday morning game. I've got a first quarter exacta. Kansas State 7, Iowa State 3, 16-1. First quarter exacta.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Celebrate with a Guinness.
That's exactly what you're thinking about when you're looking to lay and get ahead of your bankroll. Is a week 0 first game. Why not bet?
I was already thinking under, and then I heard your breakdown and talked about the Iowa State linebackers. You know what? I don't want to be too heavy on one side, so I am on K-State -3 in this game. But instead of Iowa State under 23.5, let's just go full game under.
Okay, interesting. Should be a little bit of rain, but it is Ireland, and it is not a retractable dome, but it is it's like a weird, like there's just a hole in the top of the stadium, but like the top of the stadium also like overhangs over all of the seats and everything. So like only the field would get some precipitation. And so like a lot of the rain coming from this, if it were to come sideways, would get stopped by that roof as well. So I don't really see weather. It was supposed to be light rain anyway, so I don't see weather being a factor in this game either.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a game going into the fourth quarter where it'll still be competitive, and God damn, I'm just tapping it. It's almost here.
Yeah, and it's a great game for both teams if you're backing for a Big 12 title. This is a big win to start your season in the Big
For
12.
sure. Yeah, definitely.
All right, what's up next?
Let me check my phone. I wasn't prepared.
That's all right. Well, we've got Idaho State. The Idaho State, I believe they're the Bengals, at UNLV, 3 p.m. on a new network. I didn't even know this existed, the Mountain West Network. That's interesting. Spread is UNLV a tight 25.5. The total in that game is 64.5. I like to bet every game week 0 because it's such a small slate. But I've been having a little trouble with this game, especially news came out today. Alex Orji and Calandria are going to be splitting snaps. Obviously a good game to do that. Mullen, this is a perfect game for a team that is full of transfers to be able to get some game speed and still be able to work through any last minute QB battles, any sort of positional battles. Idaho State, not exactly an FCS powerhouse. They were 3-9 in the minors last year. Sorry, FCS. It's just what we call you here, minor leagues. And it's just a perfect game for this team. I'm not going to lay any of the line. The one thing, though, if we're going to stick away from any sort of Joe activity, I wouldn't hate with, we don't really like, we're a big proponent of if you're starting 2 QBs, you're starting no QBs here. So DraftKings doesn't have it available yet. If I can get an Idaho State line plus 13.5 first half, I wouldn't mind taking Idaho State with the points in the first half, just on pure working it out. Hasn't officially made it to the card, but not really going to have much in-depth coverage on these FCS type games.
Yeah. I like your angle. Thought process is good. I don't have any thoughts in this game.
Yeah, over's already hit 65.5. I made this prep sheet last night, so already added a point to the over.
Seems high.
It does seem high. But when you also bring in a whole new defense as well, those guys have to link up any sort of continuity, and they could definitely slip up and give a few scores up.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, next up is a game that we'll definitely be watching. Our boy Jalen Daniels, one of the nominees for the Rocky Lombardi. This guy's still playing somehow and getting meaningful snaps in college award for the season. He's on the Rocky Lombardi watch list. Jalen Daniels, but KU gets a brand new stadium. They're finally out of Arrowhead, and they're hosting Fresno at 5:30 kickoff on Fox. Kansas right now is a 12-point favorite. Total is 50.5. When I look at this team, Fresno State, man, where are they going to find any sort of passing attack? This team is they might as well be a triple option team. They're going to be running the ball like they have no other will to live. And I'm just worried of what that's going to look like. It could get ugly, Alex, if they get down quick. And they're having to force passing. I'm just not confident at all in what they're able to produce on the passing side. Too many question marks, too many unproven positional players. Kansas, listen, they should be able to control this game from the start. Jalen Daniels essentially used this year as a NFL tryout. You get 13 tryouts this season. I think his biggest issue has been holding on to the ball, injuries. So staying healthy in this game will be key, and just making right decisions, smart decisions. If he's able to do that, I think this team should cover the spread, but I see Kansas scoring quite a bit. I see Fresno being able to knock a couple. Kansas's team total is 37.5. Kind of like that, but I'd rather go the game over. Just a little concerned about what Kansas has returned on defense. So I like over 50.5 in this game, and you're gonna see that on my card.
Nice. Yeah, this is a cool spot for the Jayhawks to start the year with eyeballs on them at home at the newly renovated stadium. I'm sure the fans are happy to check the stadium out. I'm sure the players are happy to be playing there. They're not starting the year with like some weird Arrowhead game where there's like 20% capacity for this type of game. So, yeah, I mean, Daniels, we know he's a good quarterback, and I feel like he improved as the season went on last year once he got into a groove and maybe proved to himself that he could stay healthy. He got more comfortable as we saw Kansas beat Colorado late in the year last season. That was a big win. I think Kansas covers. I think your questions about Fresno are valid. The only thing that I'm hesitant to do here, Burns, is to write Fresno off too quickly. They should be acknowledged as a respected program. They've done a lot of great things in college football. So I hope I'm not just dismissing them too easily. With that said, I think Kansas has a lot going for them in this game.
Yeah, that's fair as just as someone that has a kind heart like you. But let's be honest. This home crowd is going to be jacked up for the new stadium. You're right. They won 3 of their final 4 games, spoiling Iowa State, BYU, and Colorado's season. They have a ton of momentum heading into the season. So I would also feel comfortable laying the points and the over. And for anyone that's like, oh, what a Joe play. These are all Joe plays, laying the points. Something's got to cover, folks. I'm going to tell you something. The favorites are going to cover at times, and the overs are going to hit. So it's not my fault if they all come in week 0.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about 3 games. Let's pump the brakes.
Yeah,
if people are coming at us for that.
Yep. Next man up. We got a little CUSA battle. Another conference game starting off week 0. Sam Houston State at Western Kentucky, coming to Bowling Green, Kentucky, 6 p.m. on CBS The Deuce Sports Network. Western Kentucky, a double-digit favorite here, 10 points. That over-under is 60 and a half. Interesting here. What do you got?
Okay, so you gotta tell me. Sam Houston State must low key have potential to be kind of spicy this year when I saw this line, because I thought it was going to be a higher line, because WKU typically is a good team with a good program. They should have no problem covering this number against Sam Houston. So I feel like I'm missing something. Sam Houston must be a little spicy this year.
You know what? They could be spicy. It's got to be on the defensive side of the ball. I really don't see where this offense hangs around with an offense like WKU, but WKU in the past has had their own defensive struggles. But I don't see how Sam Houston can keep up in in any sort of shootout. That's my biggest concern with a untested quarterback and just a litany of absences from last year's very overperforming team. But as we've talked about this year, when they sit at a win total of 4.5, they won 9+ games last year. That's losing a lot from year to year. So WKU though just falls under the new faces, new places. So always have to worry about that continuity. Week 0, really, chemistry matters a lot in this game. But my lean in this game, not my lean, it's on my card, is I think WKU is more ready out the gate at home, and they're getting less than a touchdown first half. So I have WKU covering 6.5 in the first half.
Yeah, I like that. They've been a good, solid, consistent program. I mean, am I wrong in saying that?
Definitely past years is starting to come more to light. They had a few down years there back to back, but landing just a bit of a fireballer at quarterback with McIver. I think they'll be able to get off to a hot start at home. Also, both last two weather. WKU looks clear. Kansas, I saw a slight chance of light rain. Both no cases of weather coming into effect here.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Great.
No Toledo lightning delays.
God, don't get me started. All right, and the final game is on the Big Island. Stanford goes to Hawaii week 0, 6:30 start on CBS. So some national broadcasting here. Hawaii's giving away 2.5 points at home. That totals 51.5. Listen, Hawaii, interesting team with Timmy Chang. I think they overperformed last year, which is good for a team that didn't really get much noise in the transfer portal. They didn't really lose anyone. They didn't really gain too many people. But that program is, big time home base, and as long as they're not losing players, that's positive for all the continuity that they're looking to build there on the Big Island. We both like Hawaii here. I think the biggest thing with Stanford, a lot of people have them ranked, if not last, towards the bottom in the ACC. You have to wonder, with such great football minds on that sideline, though, with Frank Reich and a program that has not always been a national contender and hasn't really been known for its football prowess, was starting with Harbaugh and then Shaw and then all the litany of quarterbacks that came through. So I think that's where this Frank Reich interim head coach is looking to build, is the foundational piece for what's to come next in the following years. So I'd say this is my most nervous pick of just laying 2.5 with a Hawaii team that's got some holes for sure.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's not like we're talking about a team that was like good last year or has been good as of late. But I expect them to make a statement at home to open the year. I think it's time, Burns. A couple of years ago, they got embarrassed by Western Kentucky. They were big.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Western Kentucky, Vanderbilt, good call out there. And then last year they had an early game in the season against UCLA. Honestly, they should have won, but they ended up giving the game away at the end. Feel like it's time for them to win one of these. I feel like the program has been building in the right direction. And I think this is just it's a really big game for both schools, obviously, but I think this is the best Hawaii has been from a program standpoint in a few years. And I think they make a statement week 0 with, again, a bunch of eyeballs on them and get a big signature win.
Yeah, I like the idea of their quarterback, Michael Aliado. Again, never hold me accountable for names. But, I mean, absolutely throttled New Mexico in his first true official start, throwing for 469 yards, 5 touchdowns in the final appearance of the season. And before that, he was 11 of 12 against Utah State, 1 touchdown. He hasn't thrown a pick yet in his college career.
Jeez.
What?
Well,
I mean, he's going to throw a pick at some point.
You done it.
Okay, yeah. Where's his Heisman ticket? If I'm going to curse him on saying he hasn't thrown a pick yet. Yeah. So, he's an interesting wrinkle. I mean, that's incredible confidence ending the season, and that's got to be great for any sort of momentum heading into the next season. When it comes to Stanford, obviously losing your Ayomar.
Yeah,
that's right.
Elick Ayomar.
Yeah. Now here in Nashville. Listen, that's a huge loss to the offensive side of the ball. I think it's more of what's going to be feeling out. So, that's pretty much wrapping it up for our week 0 coverage and what we can expect. And by the way, we're both on Hawaii minus 2.5 in that game.
I'm on their money line.
Oh, you're on their money line. I'm on minus 2.5, but we're both on the Hawaii side.
Yeah.
So we look to recap the cards here. Let's get this junk out of the way. Alex says Kansas State minus 3. He moved the Iowa State game off his card and took the game under. And then a Hawaii money line. I myself am on Kansas State over 6.5 team total first quarter. Fresno State, Kansas over 50.5. WKU 6.5 first half. And then Hawaii minus 2.5. Other Iowa State 3, Kansas State 7 in the first quarter. 16-1 bets. Boy, that'd be a nice way to start the season, wouldn't it?
Sure would.
Just Iowa State driving with 1 minute to go inside the red zone. Just clock's moving, not fast enough. It's 7-3. What's happening?
And it's a touchdown.
Oh, wow.
The final play of the first quarter.
I get yelled at for calling some guys. Damn interception.
Hold on. There's a flag in the backfield. Holding.
Yeah.
Offense number 71.
Yeah. So cards. And then what can everyone expect here going forward on regular game week coverage?
Well, moving forward, we are going to be breaking down the big games each and every week. So the games that are nationally televised, the ranked games, we're always going to be talking about those games because we understand that a lot of people are interested in those games. And then, of course, we're just going to talk about, games that we like. And then mixed in between, I would say we're going to talk about good games, not great games. For example, like if Texas A&M is playing Missouri, we're going to make sure we're acknowledging like the good games as well as the great games. And we're going to talk about our own personal angles on games that we like. Burns, he's a big MAC guy. He knows that conference. Me, I like to stick to the power conferences, Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every week we'll also have our patented parlays, our quad box parlay, which is picking one quad box on YouTube TV. Although this year it might be a little different because there is murmurs that you're going to be able to create your own. We'll see how that pans out week one, what that actually looks like. But what we did in years past is find a slate where you could have that quad box up and have a parlay going in that quad box. Then, of course, the what could possibly go wrong this week parlay of the week will be returning. That one was less successful. Our quad box hit, I think, 5 times last year. Pretty miraculous for a 4-leg parlay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, our weekly teaser. We pick 6 games that you're going to want to tease, give you a little bit more comfortability. That gets you right at plus 500. And we talked about it in our futures preview, but got a little surprise here to close us out. Where's the share? Share screen. Boom. We've got our futures parlay that we teased about laying down, and it's going to be what we call a bowl week parlay. So all we're looking at is teams to get 6 regular season wins, so over 5.5. And we're going to put together the strongest parlay, so you'll be sitting on a at least 75-1 ticket when you are sweating week 13 games for some teams to get over. Listen, we're going to take some teams that are going to be, pretty much shoo-ins to get 6 games. We're not trying to get too crazy. But I think if we start off with Iowa and Washington, I think that's a great start for 2 teams to get 6 wins.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and put Nebraska on that ticket.
Nebraska. Did I scroll past them?
Yep, they're minus 550.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And let's put USC on that ticket.
600. Got to put Buffalo on there.
Buffalo.
Play the bottom of the MAC. Well, let's scroll down and get some juice on this because right now we're only sitting at plus 176.
Okay.
I think this podcast loved Pittsburgh.
You sure do. We know
Okay.
that.
Okay, we'll take that off.
No, keep it on. It's fine.
I think this podcast also liked Colorado at 6 wins. Or Vanderbilt.
Let's go Vandy.
Vandy. I think that's good. I think it was interesting seeing Oklahoma State above Vandy there, just slightly, but that kind of got a head scratcher. Same with Boston College and Arizona. We had all 3 of those teams playing pretty poorly this year.
Vandy's always being disrespected. Dude, ESPN had this article about what's going on in the Big Ten, and one of the paragraphs was talking about Nico transferring. And it said Nico threw 9 touchdowns in his final 3 games, but keep in mind 4 of those were against Vanderbilt. I was like, damn, just catching strays for no reason.
It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I'm going to go ahead and put my team in there, Middle Tennessee. Need some plus money. At plus 150, I'm confident that team will get to 6 wins and get bowl eligible.
Yeah,
no longer
Middle Tennessee
confident in Cal.
Eliminating their uniforms, only wearing 2 unis this year to free up some money to spend for NIL.
Freeing up $1 million is crazy for the apparel budget. How was that even allowed to be spent in the first place?
Right.
And that sits us at 25-1. We got to get a little juicier than that, Alex. People didn't come to the show for 25-1.
Okay. Well, how
we
about
liked Miami of Ohio over 8.5 or over 6?
Yep.
We got them in the MAC championship game. That gets us to 39-1.
You scroll down.
Ooh,
yeah, keep scrolling down.
Real juicy.
Let's see what we got here. Man, Northwestern at plus 360 is pretty sexy. I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. Had them at 5-7, so won't.
When I look in this range, it's definitely, they're plus money for a reason right there. 5 wins doesn't get it done for us. When I think about other teams that are kind of hanging around, Air Force jumps out to me. It's a team that will win more than 6 games this year, or more than 5 games.
Florida State will.
Right there, 275. That's 50. And we cannot add an 11th. We can only go 10 deep. So that puts us at 53-1. Can we eliminate USC and get a different team in there to get a little juicier?
Sure, man.
Plus, that's minus 600 coming off the board. South Carolina, 6 wins?
No.
Wow.
Let's go Air Force.
Air Force. Wow, you won't believe it. 69-1.
Wow, dude.
You horny little devil, dude. You horny little devil. 69-1. That's a $100 ticket, pays out just about $7,000. So Merry Christmas to you cashing that ticket. Right before the holiday season. That'll be right before Black Friday. You just have $7,000 walking around in your pocket. That's a little walking around money.
Yeah, it's that easy.
It's really that easy, folks. So again, just highlighting at home, go to your DraftKings tab, go under wins, milestones, and then you scroll down to 6+ regular season wins. That's over 5.5 for those keeping track at home. We've got Nebraska, Iowa, Washington, Buffalo, Florida State, Air Force, Miami of Ohio, Pittsburgh, Vanderbilt, and Middle Tennessee. That's a 10-leg season-long parlay paying out 69-1. Take it home to the bank.
Love
That's
it.
our final bet for the card. And then a few housekeeping things if you haven't been following. Every Friday I'll be running our new show live on Twitter and YouTube called College Football Last Call Live. And that'll just be a show recapping any injury news, any line movements, just taking any questions, comments, arguments in the chat. And that'll be about 30-minute show. That's 5:30 Eastern every Friday. It's announced on our socials. Other than that, anything else, game of the year, any futures we have added to the card that we might not have covered in the last week and a half?
No, nothing that I added that we haven't covered.
Both of our cards are posted on all of our channels. I will say I did add one notable under to my card, and that's Ole Miss under 8.5. Just more I look at that team, more I look at that schedule. That team's not a 9-win team, and that's only minus 110 on the under.
I agree with that bet.
Yep. So, all right, we did it. Week 0.
Can't wait. Can't wait, baby.
Man, and we'll be back next week, same time for week 1. And boy, do we have some games to talk about then.
Yes, we do. All right, guys. Well, thanks for checking us out. Enjoy the games.
All right. Love you.